What is up, YouTube? And tomorrow we have the Overlord collab, so I'm very excited. But before that, let's actually talk about this Forge Your Epic Gear event. A lot of people have been asking actually what you guys should be crafting from this event. So basically, I'm on an alt account because I started this on my main, just so I can show you guys how this actually works. So this Forge Your Epic Gear event actually has two phases. I know a lot of you guys probably know already what this is. But if you guys don't, I'm going to explain to you how it works. If you guys already know what this event is, I'll tell you guys what you guys should be crafting. But basically, you are going to have to complete this first part here. And the period is going to be from April 11th until May 11th. And then after that, you can start the second part, which will be basically accessories, right? It'll be necklaces, rings, and boots. And this will probably go from May until June, right? So another month for this second event. Now, people are wondering if you finish this, does it start right after the Epic Gear Part 2? No, it does not. You still have to wait for the time period. So even if you finish this early, you will have to wait until somewhere around May to start the second part. So you have to wait for Smilegate to announce about that. And you can see, like I mentioned, the first part you can get a weapon, helmet, or armor. And then for the second part, you can get necklace, ring, or boots. You can only craft one piece per part. So you want to make sure you actually choose what you really need. Now, the way you actually craft gear is by using points, and points you can see are obtained by doing daily reputation rewards. So every day you can get 50 points from the quest. From the weekly reputation rewards, this is from the 100-point reward. You definitely want to make sure you do this every week because it gives you pretty much all of your points, probably like 90% I'd say. And then your use 100 energy. This is going to be when you're farming during like events with boosted rate ups to, farm some points and some gear and stuff like that. And yeah, basically you just have to press this participate button. You want to make sure you press this ASAP, otherwise you don't start getting points. And you want to make sure you don't do your rewards until you actually start this event. I don't know if you guys have already. And you can see here that you can choose a set. Now basically how this works is you can choose a set, you can choose the piece, you can choose the main stats, and you can choose the substats. And then you can also choose how you want the stats to roll or how you want them to skill up. So you can basically craft a perfect piece of equipment catered to just you, and you can choose what you want. Now, what I recommend here is going to be a set that is mostly going to be harder to get. Now, if you are a newer player, I would actually recommend getting probably a penetration set. This set is really good, and you can't really get it until you start farming Nightmare Raid, and also if you start getting to Katie's. A lot of you guys are probably wondering why not speed set. You can get a speed set, but keep in mind you are probably already farming Wyvern. As soon as you start playing the games, you will have access to speed set. This event is definitely for a piece that you don't really have a lot of good pieces for. So penetration set, lifesteal set if you have like an Abyss Euphine. If you have like a Navy Captain Landy you want to build, you can go counter set. If you have like a Lone Crescent Bellona, you can go really good penetration set. If you want to build your Midnight Gall, yes, you can go torrent set. Really up to you and what you have on your account. I think the most universal set currently is probably going to be penetration, counter, and lifesteal. I think these three are the best options. But if you're new to the game, it really comes down to what Moonlight 5 stars did you actually pull for that are good in PvP. So, like I mentioned, Lone Crescent Bellona, Lineart Sermia, probably want Destruction set, Navy Captain Landy, counter, Abyss Euphine, lifesteal, and even Lone Crescent Bellona probably wants penetration as well. I think any of these four sets are good choices. The best probably being penetration because it is the hardest to get because it's locked behind Katie's. So for me, I'm going to go penetration set. It's really good on a lot of units, so I highly recommend this one. Anything that does a lot of single target, it is really up to you. Now for the piece, it really comes down to what pieces you're lacking for the first part of the event. However, I highly recommend if you don't have a lot of good pen helmets to get the helmet. That is because the helmet is the hardest to roll for especially damage dealers. If you didn't know, weapons can't roll into defense percent or defense flat, and chest pieces cannot roll into attack flat or attack percent. Helmets can pretty much roll into everything, so you definitely want to make sure you get this one. It makes it so that there is more RNG when you're actually collecting helmets. So helmets are probably going to be the best bet for this entire event. Regarding what set you take, it's really up to you. Like I said, I probably recommend penetration. Make sure you get the helmet though. It is definitely going to be the best bet because it has the most possibilities for subs. Like if we actually reset, you're going to see here, if I go to, let's go to penetration again, and let's go to weapon, you're going to see that they are going to be missing the defense flat and the defense percent. So there's only 8 substats, meaning when you're, picking up pieces of weapons while farming, hunts and stuff like that, you only have 8 substat RNGs. Like I mentioned before, with chest piece as well, you're going to see it's missing 2 as well. So you only have 8 because you can't get the attack percent or attack flat. If we go back to the trusty old helmet here, the one that I highly recommend you get pretty much all the time, you can see that there's 10. So there's way more variants. You definitely want to make sure you get this one. Now, here you're selecting the substats. Usually you can select the main stat as well, but because left side pieces, weapons, helmets, and armors actually have a fixed main stat with no RNG, it doesn't really show. So there's only 4 steps here. In Forger Epic Gear Part 2, there will be 5 where you can choose the main stat. So you're going to have to think about that as well. But for this one, it's pretty simple. You just want to choose what substats you want. Now, if you're going for a penetration set on a damage dealer, really depends on what damage dealer you're going for, right? If you're going for a health scaling bruiser, such as like Alencia for some reason, you're using your pen set on, or Edward Elric, you probably want something like health, crit damage, crit chance, and speed, right? These are the best stats that you can actually use. If you're going for something like a Lone Crescent Bologna build, you probably want crit damage, attack percent, health percent, and either defense percent or speed. Really up to you. Probably I'm going to recommend defense percent for Lone Crescent Bologna because it's probably better for her. If you're going for a fast opener that's single target like Zahak, who's very popular and very powerful, you can go even something like attack percent, crit damage, crit chance, and speed. I think this is probably going to be the one of the more chosen ones, especially if you like to speed contest. And if you do this, you probably want to go all into speed. If you're going to build your Lone Crescent Bologna, you probably want to do something like this. Then you click confirm here. This will confirm the substats. Then after this, you're going to see that you can actually roll into your substats up to 3 times each for a total of 5 times. So I can go into attack percent 3 times, and then it caps, and then the rest of the 2 rolls I have left on my piece will have to be split upon the other 3 substats. So you can't go all into speed here, which makes speed pieces not the best. You're not going to be super fast, but it will be very good just to make a very good piece. I think it goes to 103 gear score, 104 maybe if I'm not wrong. I think it's 103 or 102, something like that. But it's still very good, right? For a player late game, still very good. For a player that's early game, extremely good. So you really want to divide your substats to how you want. For me, for Lone Crescent Bologna, I'd probably go max into crit damage and then the remaining 2 into health percent, or maybe like 1 or 2 into crit damage and the rest into attack percent, because you usually run destruction set on Lone Crescent Bologna anyways, so it's really up to you. Yeah, there's a lot of pieces you can make. The reason why I'm on this alt is because before you start, you can actually keep resetting for free. For example, if you want to go for like a Navy Captain Landy build, right? Because a lot of people have her because of the recent event. You can go something like this with a helmet. I think I'd probably go like health, defense, attack percent, crit chance, because attack is better than crit damage on her because of the healing and the attack scaling. Then here, you could probably go a lot into health, some into crit chance, right? I think those are the 2 most important stats. Now, the way this actually works is you actually choose one, right? You will actually be able to enhance it, and you'll have to do it 4 or 5 times, I believe. The first one is going to be discounted. After you complete this entire bar, it'll do 1 enhancement. Then you have to do this over and over, up to 5 times, obviously, to get your final piece. So you'll have to do this for a total of 20 days, I believe, to actually fully enhance your piece. And then you'll need extra points to actually claim the piece here. So if I look here, confirming the equipment will also take 2,000. If you want to reset it, it'll cost you 300, but of course it'll take you a lot more time. I think it is getting too late to reset it now, so you probably want to choose a piece that you really need. Otherwise, you'll run out of time for the event because it does end on the 11th of May. So a lot of pieces you can do. Just so people see one more time, if I go for like, Abyssal Euphine here, I can go, something like this, lifesteal set, probably go health, defense, crit damage, crit chance, something like this, and it'll work as well. And you can split up your subs how you want. If you really want a speed set piece of gear for some reason, even though you can really farm it easily, just because you are still lacking on speed set, it's kind of gating you from doing PvE. Obviously, you can go, like this for damage dealers, right? This is pretty good. Speed, crit chance, attack percent, crit damage. If you want to put it for a, support, like Soul Weaver or a Knight, you can do something like this. This is probably the best option. A lot of things you can do with your pieces. It really comes down to how you want to build your characters and what you need on your account in the current moment. Now, I do think Penetration helmets are still the best, you know, but it really comes down to your count. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys end up crafting. Like I mentioned, this Forger Epic Gear Part 2 will start after you complete Part 1 and after the event officially starts. Last time, it didn't go right after. I think it was like 1 or 2 months after. I'm not sure if it'll be the same way, but if this doesn't unlock right away after completing Part 1, it's probably because the event isn't released yet and they do just plan to release it in the future. Also, you know, extra points here, there's a lot of things you can get. You'll most likely be able to get everything here if you don't reset too much. There are going to be a ton of stuff. This is just level 1. You can see there's really good pieces like, you know, equipment conversions, reforge mats, and stuff like that. Once you get to level 3 and level 4, you'll see that there are potion of ascensions and really nice stuff like that. So very, very good event. You get 2 perfect pieces, including 1 right side piece, which is really nice. And you get a ton of resources as well. That is pretty much it for this video about the Epic Gear event. I'll make another one for part 2 when it comes out so I can show you guys what you guys should be crafting there. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Also, make sure to hit that like button to show some support. And also, let me know in the comments down below what you ended up crafting. Peace.